My sister stole my future, then blamed me for telling the truth. My name is Daniel Carter, and for most of my life, I believed my younger sister Emily would always be the person I protected. When our mother died, Emily was only 14. I was 22. From that day forward, I stopped being just a brother. I became a second parent. I worked overtime shifts, skipped vacations, and sacrificed relationships so she could finish school without worrying about money. Every birthday gift, every school trip, every emergency. I paid for it, and I never regretted a single dollar because she was family. I thought family meant loyalty. I thought blood meant trust. I was wrong. The first sign that something was wrong came on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. I was sitting in my office reviewing contracts when my phone rang. The caller ID showed my bank. I almost ignored it. Mr. Carter, the representative said nervously, we need to verify a loan application submitted this morning. A loan application? Yes, sir, for $95,000. I laughed. There must be a mistake. The representative paused. The application includes your social security number, your address, and copies of your driver's license. My smile disappeared. I had never applied for a loan. Not that day, not ever. The bank immediately froze the application. I assumed someone had stolen my information online. Identity theft happens every day. Annoying. Stressful but fixable. Then I received a second call, and a third, and a fourth. By sunset, I learned there were 5 separate loan applications under my name. 5. All submitted within the previous month. My stomach dropped. Someone wasn't experimenting. Someone was planning. That night I pulled my credit report. The moment it loaded, I felt sick. There were accounts I had never opened. Credit cards, personal loans, store financing agreements. Over $112,000 in debt. My hands started shaking. I couldn't breathe. Years of perfect credit. Years of responsible financial decisions. Destroyed. And I had no idea why, or by whom. Then I saw an address attached to one of the accounts. An address I recognized immediately. It belonged to my sister, Emily Carter. I stared at the screen for nearly a minute. No, it couldn't be, not Emily, not the girl I raised, not the girl I sacrificed everything for. I convinced myself there had to be another explanation. Maybe someone had used her address. Maybe she'd been scammed too. Maybe deep down I already knew. The next morning I drove to her apartment. Emily greeted me with a smile. Daniel, what are you doing here? For a brief moment, I almost believed everything was normal. Then I noticed the designer handbag hanging near the door. The brand new television mounted on the wall. The expensive furniture. The luxury items she couldn't possibly afford. Emily worked part-time at a boutique. She barely made enough to cover rent. Yet her apartment looked like a showroom. My heart sank. Where did you get all this? I asked quietly. She shrugged. I've been doing better lately. I looked directly into her eyes. Did you use my identity? Her smile vanished. Silence filled the room. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Then she looked away. That was my answer. I felt something inside me break. Not anger, not yet. Just heartbreak, the kind that leaves your chest hollow. Emily, her eyes filled with tears. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I sat down slowly. My legs suddenly felt weak. What did you do? And then the truth started pouring out. At first, she'd only opened one credit card. She planned to pay it back before I noticed. Then she lost her job. The balance grew. So she opened another account, then another, then another. Each lie required a bigger lie. Each debt required more debt, until the entire thing became uncontrollable. By the end, she had opened 12 accounts using my identity. 12, I couldn't even speak. She started crying. I'm sorry. I stared at her. Sorry wasn't enough. Sorry didn't erase $112,000. Sorry didn't repair my credit. Sorry didn't restore my trust. Then she said something that changed everything. I thought you'd understand. Understand? I felt my heart harden. You stole from me. No, she said quickly. I borrowed from you. Borrowed. That word echoed in my head. Borrowed implied permission. Borrowed implied consent. Borrowed implied respect. She had asked for none of those things. You forged my name. I was desperate. You lied. I was scared. You destroyed my financial future. She started sobbing harder. I never wanted to hurt you. But she already had, for months, maybe years. The worst part wasn't the money, it wasn't the fraud, it wasn't even the lies. The worst part was realizing she'd watched me help her over and over while secretly using me as a financial weapon. Every family dinner, every phone call, every hug, she knew, and she said nothing. When I left her apartment, I drove straight to my father's house. I needed support. I needed family. Instead, I found betrayal waiting for me. My father listened quietly as I explained everything. Then he sighed. "She's your sister." I stared at him. "And, don't involve the police." I thought I'd misheard him. What? Families handle family problems. I couldn't believe it. Emily had committed multiple felonies, and his concern wasn't what she'd done. His concern was protecting her. She stole over $100,000. My father shook his head. She made mistakes. Mistakes? Forgetting a birthday is a mistake. Running a red light is a mistake. Identity theft is a crime. Then my aunt arrived, and my uncle. And suddenly everyone had an opinion. She's struggling. She's young. She didn't mean it. You can recover. Every sentence felt like another knife. Not one person asked how I felt. Not one person asked what this had done to me. The victim became invisible. The criminal became the priority. That night, my father called me. "Think carefully before you destroy your sister's life." Destroy her life. Those words haunted me, because nobody seemed concerned about the life she'd nearly destroyed. Mine. For 3 days, I barely slept. I replayed childhood memories, birthdays, Christmas mornings, family vacations. Every memory felt contaminated. Then I discovered something worse, much worse. Emily hadn't acted alone. My father knew. Months earlier, he had known. I found messages proving he'd received collection notices addressed to me. Instead of warning me, he gave them to Emily. Instead of exposing the fraud, he helped conceal it. I felt physically sick. The betrayal wasn't one person, it was two. My own father had chosen her over the truth, over me. That was the moment my decision became easy. I filed the police report. The investigation lasted 4 months. The evidence was overwhelming. Emails, IP addresses, bank records, phone logs. Signed applications. Everything pointed directly to Emily. When detectives interviewed her, she confessed. Not because she felt guilty, because she knew she couldn't escape the evidence. The day charges were filed, my family exploded. Calls, texts, voicemails, accusations. I was called heartless, cruel, selfish, vindictive. No one called Emily those things, only me. Apparently, exposing a crime was worse than committing one. The court hearings were painful. Emily cried, my father cried, relatives cried, everyone cried, except me. I was exhausted. I had no tears left. During sentencing, the judge asked Emily why she'd done it. Her answer stunned the courtroom. "I always felt like Daniel had everything, everything. I spent 20 years sacrificing for her, working overtime, paying bills, giving up opportunities, and she looked at my life and saw privilege, not sacrifice, not effort, privilege." The judge sentenced her to probation, restitution, financial counseling, and community service. Many people thought she got off easy. Maybe she did. But the legal consequences weren't the hardest part. The hardest part came afterward. Silence. Family gatherings stopped. Holiday invitations disappeared. Relationships fractured. Some relatives chose Emily. Some chose me. Most chose convenience. Nobody wanted conflict, so they simply avoided both of us. For a while, I questioned myself. Maybe I should have stayed quiet. Maybe I should have protected her. Maybe then I remembered the numbers. $112,000, $12 fraudulent accounts, years of deception, and a father who helped hide it. No. Silence would not have saved the family. Silence created this disaster. Truth merely exposed it. 3 years have passed since then. My credit is repaired. My finances recovered. My career survived. But some wounds never fully heal. I haven't spoken to Emily in over 2 years. I haven't spoken to my father in almost 18 months. People often ask if I forgive them. The answer surprises them. I don't know, maybe forgiveness isn't the right question. Maybe the better question is this: can you love someone and still refuse to trust them? My answer is yes. I hope Emily becomes a better person. I hope she builds a stable life. I hope she learns from what happened. But hope doesn't require access. Hope doesn't require trust. And hope doesn't require forgetting. The greatest lesson I learned is that family isn't defined by blood. Family is defined by behavior, by honesty, by accountability, by respect. Anyone can share your DNA. Not everyone deserves a place in your life. The day I reported my sister, I thought I was losing my family. In reality, I was protecting myself from people who had already chosen to sacrifice me. And sometimes, that's the hardest kind of courage there is. The courage to stop saving people who are willing to drown you to save themselves.